What's going on, guys? This is Zion Brock, songwriter, producer for fan fiction, and founder of the Triple Threat Artist course, where we teach singer-songwriters how to be a singer-songwriter and producer at triple threat. Today, I want to talk real quick about a concept in production. This has to do with production complexity, but I want to explain something to you because oftentimes I get people asking me for feedback for their songs, and they want to know how they make their songs better in the production area. And I'm not talking about the songwriting, I'm talking about production right now. So I had an idea that I think is, dare I say, profound. It's not really profound, but it's probably pretty basic, but I want to share it with you right now. So I'm going to use a little whiteboard here. I don't do this very often because I'm not an artist. And I am going to draw. If I were drawing a picture, okay, and I spent years doodling in the back of a classroom in school, and I learned how to draw like a nautilus, okay? So here's my nautilus. It's kind of crappy. But let's say I got really good at it. And after a while, I started getting feedback on it. The world was resonating with my nautilus. I could draw it anywhere I went. I would be at a lecture. I'd be at the whiteboard at work, and I could draw this, or, on my homework or my kids' homework, or I could do it in the dust of a dirty car, but I could draw this nautilus, and it was great. Every time I did it, it was just people were like, dang, you did that? And you're like, yeah, I did it. Okay. If I didn't focus on this, and I came across other artists that, let's say, were really good at seascapes, and they could really paint seascapes well, and I thought, well, I want to draw seascapes. So I said, okay, for my next piece of work, I'm going to draw a seascape. So I drew my nautilus, and then I drew some waves, but I've never really drawn waves before. So that's my first attempt at a wave, and let's say we want a palm tree. Here's a palm tree. And let's say, I don't know what else. Let's say there's a person on a surfboard. And I've never drawn any of these things before, but I want them so bad. I want to be that guy that can put a surfboard in his Nautilus seascape painting because I just like the idea of that. I've always wanted to be that person that can do that, but I don't really know how yet. Okay. But I force it in there. And then maybe there's a sunset on the water. And in the end, I come up with a bunch of ideas that are kind of crappy. They're not very good. They're amateurish at best with this beautiful nautilus in it. This is often what a lot of amateur producers do. They get good at one thing, and maybe they've become a really good vocalist, and they can lay down a couple chords on the guitar, and with their guitar and their vocal, they sound great. And they get the attention, they command respect, they command attention, but they're not sure how to do these other things yet. Should they? That is the question. I am a proponent of do what you do best. And if you want to move into these other areas, if you want to learn how to draw palm trees, you need to learn how to do them first before you start implementing them and putting them into your song. Let me give you an example. I get a lot of feedback or submissions from different artists and people outside of my class that would like my feedback. And I love giving feedback to people. I think it's great. A lot of people hate doing that. I love it. If I have time, I love giving feedback because it was really helpful to me back when I first started. So I try to do that too. But I've learned to try to identify what they do best and say, hey, you need to focus on that for now. If you're going to be presenting to music supervisors, other producers, collaborators, other songwriters, your fan base, you need to focus on what you do best and get good at it, and then slowly start to get good at these other things and take on one thing at a time. If that means drums, you need to start learning some drums, then learn it slowly and integrate it slowly. Don't start pitching your music. Don't start pitching your music. If this is what you're best at, don't start pitching your music with this ugly palm tree in the background. It turns everything off. Nobody wants to look at it anymore. Nobody wants to focus on your picture if you've got half elements that are ideas, but they're not very good. You're trying to frame them in. Now, I am guilty of this. If you're like me, or if I'm like you, we're probably both very guilty of this, where you submit a song and you think that guitar part sounds cool because you were just happy that you were able to get it in there and you're proud of that. But you don't really know if it's good or not. Probably shouldn't be in there. Or send the song to somebody and ask them, get them their feedback and say, hey, is this guitar good enough to be belonging in the song? I would rather one or two elements in a song total that sound fantastic and sound really, really good than be insulted by the sound of instruments that aren't put in correctly. Okay? I hope that resonated with you a little bit. I'm not advocating that you don't learn other instruments. In fact, I'm a huge proponent of learning drums, learning percussion. And that's where the class I teach is all about that. I try to help students attain that knowledge. But if you're not good at it and you have to make a choice, just send simple elements. If all that is a piano and vocal, just send that. Learn to record your vocals pristinely and learn to record that piano pristinely. So when you send it off, I mean, some of the biggest songs, look at Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel. That song is phenomenal. It's piano and it's a vocal. I think there's some tiny little bit of guitar swells and some effects to embellish the song a little bit, but honestly, they're not even needed. That song sells itself because it's so good. Now, there are some songs that you really can't just get away with that. You know, there's a lot of percussive type sounds that you got to have percussion. But learn to do percussion. Learn how to add in percussion in such a way that works. Talk to a percussionist, get a drummer, study what they're doing, reverse engineer and go, oh, I could have done that. That drummer is just putting, eighth notes on a hi-hat, 2 and 4 on a snare drum, and 1 and 3 on a kick drum, and a couple little fills and some 16th notes. And that's what they're doing. I could do that. I could program that in. Well, if you do that, if you do reverse engineer that, run it by a drummer. Get their feedback first before you show it to people, because it takes away from any of the good that you've already put in the song. All right, guys, that's it today. I just wanted to encourage you guys, think like a producer. All right, go make some good music, and I'll talk to you later.